this is my fourth season in this property. This was a vacant field, had been vacant for many years, and it was already clear, so I didn't have to clear any woodlands. The apple trees that you see in the background, they were massively overgrown. Some of them were like 25, almost 30 feet tall. So right around March of 2020, I got a new job working as a pharmaceutical sales rep in New York City. I came out of training, and then COVID hit the US pretty hard. There were customers, people that I knew from prior to getting this particular role, whom I went to see at the beginning of March, and they were dead in April. It was a very sad time for a lot of folks, and it was a very disturbing time, very unsettling. There were mass graves outside of New York City because people were now claiming the bodies of the deceased. I realized that it was time for me to really start doing the things that I love the most, to start really building a life.
I think one of the most rewarding aspects of gardening and working the land for me is the experience that my sense of self is not attached to a job, it's not attached to a status, and it's more an experience of being present in relationship to the ecosystems around me.
At the moment I get out of my car, I breathe that nice fresh air from the forest. Everything becomes the land, my crops, my trees, the forest, the animals that are here, my gardens. It just levels the hierarchies in my life. So it's more about finding ways to recharge and finding ways to connect to a deeper sense of self and a deeper experience of humanity. I love the company that I work for. I love the work that I do because I believe in the work that we're doing as an organization. But at the same time, I have this other life outside of work that is nurturing, that is rich in textures, in feelings, in colors, in experiences when I am here. And that is one of the best things about having that relationship with the land as a farmer, as a steward of the forest. And I see my role here as the role of a keystone species, an entity that has the power to nurture these ecosystems, to protect them, to support not only my own existence, but the existence of every other living organism that is present here. Keystone species are different species of animals or plants that have the capacity to create ecosystems and protect ecosystems for a myriad of other organisms to thrive. So you have the beaver that creates a whole habitat. You have the wolf that really has made an impact in terms of the vegetation in different parts of the country, because now it's just putting more pressure on herbivores than before would just ravage all the vegetation. I aspire to have what will be a keystone impact on the land, where I am making decisions that will foster biodiversity in this environment. For example, if I'm working on addressing invasive species and managing invasive species, I am doing that not to eradicate a particular species completely, but to maintain the balance, the equilibrium. I've been able to do a lot of different projects with the conservation agency in the woods. When you have a patch of forest that has been exploited year after year and there is no old growth, you are in a position to select a few trees to become elders, to clear the trees around them so that they can grow faster and the ecosystem is able to regenerate faster. So trying to find a property in the middle of the pandemic with enough land, with good soil, was pretty crazy, because houses will come in the market and they will be sold within 3 days. It was a lot of price inflation because folks were just trying to get out of New York, out of Boston.
Once I made the decision to look for properties, I would drive up here on weekends and I would camp at the local state parks. It was still the middle of the pandemic. Staying at Airbnbs or hotels was not the easiest thing. I was coming from New York, so I was coming from an area that had a lot of COVID, so that that also added a layer of complexity. So during the day, I would start driving around and exploring. And that helped me get a feel for the different communities and different areas. And it also created a lot of excitement around the idea of finding a place and relocating up here. So here I am in my first official trip to look for a place to live. And I think after 6 years of just traveling and moving from city to city, living in LA, moving to Chicago, then Massachusetts, and then New York, I think I finally got to a point that I want to find a place where I want to settle down. It's beautiful, has long winters and short summers, so that works for me. People seem good, and the land seems good, and there's lots of rivers. I think everything that I always liked as a kid is here. Rocky rivers, beautiful forest, this kind of landscape, it's really what I've been craving. It feels right, and I think one thing that summarizes this whole trip and just being here is just it feels right.
Even before I went to see a property, I would go online and look at the soil survey maps because I wanted to find soils that were viable to farming and growing food. I didn't want to buy something that was just full of rocks or soil that was so degraded that I couldn't grow. It was a high summer in 2020, it was August. I came across this property. It didn't have a house, and for that reason, people were not aggressively trying to buy it. I closed on the land on September 20th. Of the year 2020. After I closed on the property, I signed the documents and the property was officially under my name. I drove here from New York and I came to this very same spot, this big boulder where I'm sitting, and I remember getting the feeling that, wow, is it really true that we get to own land? And what became clear to me is that we get to be stewards of the land, we get to be stewards of a property. Today is October 2nd, 2020, the crazy year of 2020. And this is the first time that I get to walk this land. And as I walk around, it feels great to have a sense of ownership of the place. But also, I realize it's a huge responsibility to make sure that I make the right choices for the land, for the beings that live here. And it's very exciting, very, very exciting. It's the first time in this lifetime that I actually own property. And the choices that I make while I'm here, where I'm in tenure as a steward of this property, have the potential to echo through history. And I experienced that when I'm rebuilding some of the walls. The entire property is surrounded by stone walls. And I feel a connection to people that were here before me and worked the fields to get the stones out of there, and they piled them up and put them all around the perimeter of the property so they could work the land. And there's a connection there because I am working with the same stones that they took out of the field, and now I'm rearranging some of the walls and fixing them so they don't get buried under the weight of time. And there were indigenous communities in this land before Europeans came, and their impact may not be as visible, but they were definitely here. I realized that it's really a privilege to be able to own this land or to be a steward of this property. What I didn't understand at that time is building a house is a lot more expensive than buying a ready built house. And there was a shortage of labor. It was a really long process to try to get a team in place. But I started doing it. I started talking to people, understanding the process of construction. And at the same time, I would come here every weekend and work the land during the summer months and really try to understand. After I got the property, I was coming here on weekends. I was so excited. I was just going every weekend. But driving on weekends was really taxing on my body because I had to travel from New York City. Up here was roughly 3.5 hours. My car was just long enough for me to be able to lay down completely. And more or less have a good night of sleep. The advantage of sleeping in a car is that when it got really cold in the early hours of the day, I would turn on the car and I would have heat within just a few minutes, and the car would warm up very quickly, and that was a little bit of comfort at that point. So I did that the first 2 years, and then when I was entering my third year, I decided to buy the shed that you see right behind me, and I bought it pre-made, and they deliver it at the end of the season. So my last year in New York City, I was able to come here usually Friday nights or Saturday morning, and I would stay here for 1 or 2 nights, and it was a big difference from sleeping in a car. What I love about those years was this sense of being a pioneer, just having a small shelter and being surrounded by so much nature. When there was a storm in the middle of the night in the high summer, the lightning would just lit all the fields, and you could see the forest, the trees.
Car camping in the middle of winter, it has definite advantages. The point here is that by being out there and doing the thing, you get the answers. I drove up north from New York yesterday because I wanted to see my mom. I had not seen her for the last 4 months. Since the beginning of November was the last day that the weather was good enough for us to meet outside. We're in the middle of the COVID pandemic, so I haven't been going home and staying at her home because I was afraid that I was gonna bring COVID. Because I work in healthcare, so I am out there in hospitals and clinics all day, all week. And yesterday I asked my mom, I said, "Mom, when was the last time I saw you?" And she said, "It's been a year." Because that's what it feels like to her.
Toda esta belleza que el verano trate con cariño, trate benignamente.
On the one hand, you have the experience of engaging with nature and working with natural ecosystems. And then on the other hand, you have the human element, you have the community. And for me, being able to find my place within that human ecosystem was just as important as the work that I was trying to do, working the land. So one of my first interactions with the local community was through the plant swap. So at the beginning of the spring, a lot of towns have plant swaps in this area, and I met some really nice folks. And a couple of years later, I actually found out that that was the very first plant swap they did. It might have been around 2022 when I found a local potluck, and they had just begun to get together again after the pandemic.
They will have really good food. So I had been driving at that point for like 3 or 4 hours from New York, and here there was this banquet of amazing food. So I started attending the potlucks, and I would usually get some really nice cakes from the city, and I would bring them, and people would be excited. Within a few months, really, I had more community here than I did in New York City, and for me that was a big deal. Because
if I were to give advice to someone who's looking to start homesteading or purchasing land, my suggestion would be to take it slow and understand that the experience, the adventure, the excitement starts the moment you make the decision. It doesn't start the moment you purchase the land or you start your garden. It starts before. So enjoy that, because going through the process of discovery, going through the process of exploration, getting to know the community, looking at altitude, looking at zones, all of that will have a tremendous impact on the actual experience of homesteading and gardening. So take your time.